I want to start with this, and hey, look, schemes and all those different things, we all have our own scheme. I'm not looking to change your scheme. I want to show you what we do. If you can take one thing, great. I guess they always say that, right? If you can take one thing, I got 2 sessions tonight, I got to give you guys 2 things. All right, that's some pressure, we'll get it done. It'll be fine, we'll be all right. I want to show you some drills, and to me, that's where football's still at. You know, I think we're in an age with the internet and YouTube. I kind of sound like an old man now, but where it's all scheme stuff. And I want to show you guys drills, and you're going to take those drills, I hope, and take that packet knife we got right everything, and take them, and if you can use them at your place, or if you can modify them. A couple of these drills, I'll kind of explain where I got them, and I'll talk about how I changed them. Because if we're doing drills that don't fit our system, we're wasting time. All right, let's get to it. Okay. Oh, and when I screw this up, Eric, you're gonna have I'll buy you lunch. No, I won't buy you lunch. It's a lot. But you're gonna have to help me when this technology gets screwed up, which you probably will.
All right.
All right, here we go. All right, so I don't know. Like I've had this conversation with coaches before. Like, where do you build your defense, right? Like, you build it from the back end up, or do you build it from the front to the back? We've had those conversations. Sometimes I don't even know what that question means, but I know this, right? I've seen a lot of football teams that are good. I've coached a few that are good. I've coached some that, okay. I've never put film on and said, boy, that's a really good football team, but they're not very good up front. So, to me, this is where it starts. How you build your defense, and again, I'm not 100% sure what that means sometimes. I don't know. I don't think it's not my business, but I know you got to be good here. So when we start this, we talk about our defensive line. And I'll be honest with you, we show this to all of our kids. I change this for defensive line stuff. Then we'll get into linebacker stuff and how it all fits together. But this is number one. And look, we're here to talk about defensive line. We're here to talk about run fits. We're going to do that stuff. We're going to talk about some auto check stuff that we kind of got into this year more than I had in the past. But to me, so I'm not going to walk on a whole tangent, ain't going to preach at you. But we talk about this all the time. The number one thing, not just to play defensive line, but just to play on our team, we've got to be able to trust your effort. And to me, that's easy to say, but what does that mean? Like, in your program, think about your kids for a second. Like, just kind of make a mental list of your kids. Like, you know the ones that care, and then you know the ones that are on the fence, and then the ones that drive you crazy. So when we talk to our kids about, hey, I gotta trust your effort, really you're showing me that you care, but not just in the weight room or on the football field, right? I mean, that's a big, there's a lot that goes into it. The classroom, and this isn't BS. I know a lot of coaches come and talk about this, but this is where it's at. I don't care how good of a coach you are. I don't care how good of a player you got. I don't care about any of that stuff. You guys know, I've been burned by this. Maybe the only coach in here, okay, that's ever been burned by talent, right? Where you get a kid that's good, man. I mean, they're really good. And you go and trust them in the classroom, they're kind of, whatever. You think they're all partying, all those different things, but boy, your assistants, or whatever, they're pushing you to play the kid. You want to play the kid because he's good, and I would say 9 times out of 10, it bites you in the ass. At least for me it has. Maybe it hasn't for you guys, right? That doesn't mean that we don't give kids 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th chances, but until you can, I guess, trust your kids to work really, really hard, I don't think any of the stuff that we'll talk about today, or any of the stuff that much smarter coaches than me will talk about, it matters at all, right? So we talk a lot about that in our program. We said we're not that creative, all right? But I think one place we're creative, at some of the places I've been, is in how we build trust. Frankly, the best way for us to build trust is not speeches. We get up in the morning, we work out together, We get up at 6 a.m., right? Work out for an hour. And I don't care. That's got nothing to do with defensive line. That's got nothing to do with anything. But I gotta trust that you're there. And I got this PowerPoint, right? I make this PowerPoint thing with every single kid's name on it, right? And then I mark them down. Are they there or not? And then I mark them down. Are they in a winter sport or not? Helps you remember their names too. I'm not great with the names, so if I can see their faces, I pull their faces off that little their grade book and I slap it right on there, right? And they know it, and I show it to them, right? And they come up and I say, hey, here, look, you're in a winter sport and you're at lifting. Okay? I mean, I can trust you. No winter sport, no lifting. Oh, you got a 2.1 GPA. You got 2 referrals. So before we get into any of that stuff, I don't know, it might not be fun to talk about, it might not, might not make video clips out of it, you might not, that's where it's at. I'm sorry, I don't mean to come off as preachy, but shit, that's where it's at. I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know, but we all forget it sometimes. All right, but now once we can get you on the field, there's a couple other things that are important to us. So we just kind of put all this stuff into trust, right? So the first thing we talk about, when we talk about defensive line, is we got to trust you to line up correctly. We're a multiple front. We're an odd front team. We kind of jump into a 3-3 and a 3-4. We can talk later on if you want about why we kind of do both. I think there's merit to doing both. I think there's some merit to not doing both. It was good for us. I know everyone in here knows this, but if you go back to your film, the big plays happen, we can't get a line. And I think the longer I've coached, the more I see that. Like it's uncomfortable to do, but if you go through your huddle film or whatever you use, and you chalk up the big plays you've given up, a lot of ours, I don't have any percentages on it, we're supposed to be in a 5 or a 4 or in a 4-eye, right? And now we got something that's screwed up here, and that's when big plays happen. This gets tougher, right? We see a lot of tempo teams, you know. I see Coach Brown came in. You guys still tempo, Coach?
Yes,
that's shit. I don't like that. But I can say it to Coach Brown because he booked their ass in the playoffs. But this gets tough, man. When you're getting multiple formations and it's happening fast. I mean, it's easy to walk through, but you got to get lined up. You can't get lined up. We tell kids that all the time. Right? You can't get lined up. I can't put you on the field. You just can't do it for a lot of reasons. Okay? There's some things that you can control as a coach and some things you can't. But if you're putting kids out there that you can't trust off the field, and you're putting kids out there that you can't trust to line up, and things aren't working out, sometimes I guess you gotta look in the mirror on it, I don't know. Now, we gotta trust you to know where you're looking at. All right? So we coach, and I think everyone here that coaches defense. So I'm telling you, I don't know how much, there's not a lot new under the sun, but we spend a lot of time on our offense, right? We always are asking kids, what are you looking at? So just to give you an example for our defensive line, we'll get more into this as we go through some drills, all right? But if our defensive end, they are normally in really heavy 5s and 4s. We got away from some 4-eye stuff, and I'll get into that later too since we got the time. But I'll tell you exactly what we look at. The near bottom of the number, all right? Now that might be a little bit specific. It might not even be correct. Okay, but I want their eyes in that area, okay, because anything else brings them up. Now, hey, look, I've heard a lot of stuff, the hip, the knee, whatever. But when I ask every one of our D linemen, where are you looking, that's what they should tell me. If they can't tell me that, I'm wrong, right? If they tell me this, if I ask, hey, Jimmy, where are you looking? At the offensive tackle. No, that's not right. Near side, bottom of the number. That's how specific we'd like it. And we want it that way. I don't buy into this sometimes like, well, if you ask for near side bottom of the number, maybe you'll get this. No, man, if I ask for near side bottom of the number, I kind of want near side bottom of the number. So I'm going to say something. I'm not saying we're perfect at it. We're definitely not perfect at it, but it's what I want. And then our landmarks, as far as our alignment goes, we'll look at our alignment later. Let me get through this. I do want to get to these drills. You got to know your assignment. Now, again, as an odd front stack team and a 3-4 team, we do a lot of stuff. Maybe a little bit too much at times, which is why we started getting into this auto check stuff, which frankly, this is all going to kind of blend together anyways. But we got to know your assignment, because we can line you up right, but we're a gap exchange team, and frankly, when the ball is snapped, you can become misaligned in a hurry if you don't know what your assignment is, whether we're slanting you, and this year we slanted a ton. We just weren't a very big football team. That's fine. You can win a lot of games not being real big. But if we miss that, and I got a film, I'll show you a film of us not slanting correctly and us giving up chunk plays. Okay? So I can't put you out there because it hurts everybody. And that goes back to that trust. Right? And you got to execute your technique. So the reason I put this up here, obviously, this is what we practice. All right? Now we practice other stuff. They all do start with S's, so I thought that'd be kind of cool. But at the same time, it is what we practice. We have 3 techniques on the defensive line as far as when the ball is snapped. We have a stuff technique, which is, we're going to attack the person in front of us. We have a slant technique, which means I'm going to attack the guy I'm going to slant to the guy next to us. I'll go through our slant technique. Might be exactly like yours, might be different. You might like ours, you might hate ours. We got a long stick technique. We're going to go 2 gaps over, which I'll be honest with you, we didn't do very much this year because we weren't very good at it. I didn't teach it very well. We were just kind of getting going. We're just kind of starting. And then the other thing that we do is we try to squeeze the hell out of everything and spill everything. Now, do we teach how to defeat the reach block? Yeah, we do. Do we teach them how to rush the passer? Yeah, we do. Double teams? Yeah, we do. Down. We do all that stuff. But if you can't do those things, if you can't squeeze a down block, if you can't spill a kick-out block or a power block, if you can't use our stuff slant, or maybe not so much this year, a stick technique, I can't put you on the field. The other stuff we can work around, right? Because not every kid's going to be great at everything. And you can't coach everything. But this is what we've decided to coach. You might be completely different. All right? You might be completely different. But whatever it is that you're writing down, I mean, shit, write it down. You know, what are you, if you got a great player, they'll be great at everything. That's awesome. All right? I've been lucky enough to have some. I've also had some kids that had to play, like all of us in here, that aren't. So what can I get them good at? Because I know they can't be good at everything. Just like, I guess, I don't know. I won't speak about you. I know I can't be good at everything. You guys are all superstars. I don't know who you are. This is a big one, man. No, get into these drills. Can you bring this stuff to the game? Okay, I'm trying to watch my language here for Eric. Eric's a junior in high school. Plays center. Eric, you're doing it, and a good film guy too. Look, the reason I put this one on here, frankly, is we don't do that many drills. So I don't know if you guys deal with this. I deal with this. I'm not a 101 drill book guy. I got about 6 drills. All right. Now we might vary, do some more than others depending on the day or the week, I should say. But look, man, I think it's a difficult thing to do. To every day, whether you play 9 weeks or you play 14 weeks, plus your contact days, plus your tour days, are you going to be able to? And this is us as coaches, head coaches, assistants in here, whatever. How do you make that important when it is the same drills every day, right? That's what I buy into. And again, you might have a different philosophy. So I'm going to show you the drills that we do almost every day. There might be a couple in here that we do twice a week. But I'll say this, and I would ask, maybe the assistant coaches in here or whatever. One thing I asked Art, when I took over Sauk Prairie, they had a lot of coaching changes. So when you get a lot of coaching changes, you get a lot of different schemes. So we had to be really, really, I guess, succinct and quick on what we wanted to do. So I gave them the drills. I gave them the 3 drills that had to be done at each position. No questions asked. Then if you want to do some different things, fine. But remember, they got to match up to what you do, right? So if you ask your assistant, or if you are an assistant, think about your 3 drills, write them down, and then you better be able to say, okay, why are you doing it? You better be able to defend, why are you doing this drill? You know, I got a great quarterback coach. He's a young coach. He's going to be great. This year was an interesting year, man. I called the offense and I called the defense, just because I felt Lane took the job. Actually, the reason that happened was of this conversation. I'm giving these guys all the drills. And I have an older coach, Scott Shute, some of you might know him. He's been around for a while. He goes, Clay, I said, yeah, what do you want? And he goes, why don't you just call both the damn offense and defense if you're going to do all that? I said, all right, I'll give it a shot. But then you got to do these drills. And then we go out to practice, and our quarterback coach, who's a great coach. In fact, he's going to call the offense next year because I can't do it anymore. I can't do both. He's doing a sprint out drill. It's a great freaking drill. He's getting that shoulder turned, all that kind of stuff. We don't have sprint out, you know? And I said, hey, Zach, you know, as we're going through, I said, hey, we don't do this. I didn't give him like the whole why are you doing it. I kind of said, don't do that. We don't do that. You know, instead we'll turn it into a boot drill because we're more of a boot team or a waggle team or something like that. So if you write down your top 3 drills and you can defend why you're doing them, fantastic. Let's get to some of these drills. All right. So I'll be honest with you. I didn't film our indie this year. There was one reason why. I didn't want to. I didn't feel like doing it. We had 2 managers. I wasn't going to watch it. Now I think there's reason to film your indie drills. How many of you film your indie drills? Yeah, good, man. You probably should. I just didn't do it this year. So I'm going to actually kind of bounce back and forth. I'm not a huge PowerPoint guy. So we're gonna bounce back and forth with some film of game stuff. But first I wanna kind of show some of these drills. So this drill, our punch drill, we got 3 of them, I know you can see them there. We do these every day, Monday and then Friday, all the way through Friday to game day. All right, Eric, are you ready?
Yes.
You're filling me full of confidence, come on. All right, so here's how we do this. Because, and just stand up here, Eric. The big thing for us, and we talk about this all the time, in every single drill that we do, we talk about hands first, punch first, strike first, right? If I were to slow down our defensive lineman, right, it should be hands, hips, and then feet. Now here, we want our feet on the ground fast, but if our feet are before our hands, our offensive linemen are getting into us, and the best defensive linemen I've seen, whether they've gone on to do, college stuff, or whether they, I guess, go on and do other college stuff, they all can strike with their hand. So we start every day. And I'll say this, by mid-season, even at a new school, our guys could run this drill, and they could even coach this drill. So we call this punch drill, so we have 3 of them. I'll put them all 3 up here, and then Eric. Not bad, Eric, man. I thought time about your weight program. All right, so we got 3 of them here. All right. Eric, go down on so you're going to partner up here, okay? So what do you need here, Eric? All right, now we'll go out of the shape, and I apologize to you guys in the back. I don't know, maybe there's a better place to go, but this is how we're going to do this. Our first one, frankly, is I like to go against somebody else, all right? Because I like the feeling of a kid getting his hands on the jersey, right? I think that's important, because that's what they do in the game. We will go off the sled, all right? But I like this, I like this. A couple of coaching points. So we start this is how we start every single defensive line practice. When I say 4-point stance, I mean our toes are in the ground. And if you do this drill, I'm sure a lot of you do this drill anyway, right? But look at their toes. You don't play football with your feet, with your, like this. You gotta curl your toes underneath you, sit back, all right? You have another player, so I'll be on defense there, you just do that, all right? Because you would probably hurt me if I had you do this. This is great for your eyes. So we'll ask them, hey, where are you looking? I'm looking at the near, if I'm shaded, so we'll shade left, all right? So I'm shaded left, I can look at that near side number, the bottom of it, that's where my eyes are. My aiming point with my hands, and you'll see on the film, they don't normally end up like that, but my aiming point is breastplate, and I'm going to grab I'm going to grab cloth on the inside armpit. If I pinch them a little bit, that's okay. All right. It's great for your eyes. It's great for hand replacement, which we'll talk about later. Great for your hips and punch. And I think everybody in here would probably agree. It's a linebacker drill too. We do this for our linebackers as well. If you can punch, you can neutralize blocks. I have not seen a ton of tackles made when a defensive player is still on a block. So if we're not teaching kids how to get off blocks, then we're going to have a hard time making tackles. All right, so we just go 3 times. So this is the one drill where the D-line goes on cadence, right? Everything else is off of movement. I just haven't figured out a good way to do it because I had everyone going, right? So we'll go 3 times. All right, so I'm back here. I'll say set, go. And this is an important thing. I don't think I have it written down here. You got to have the kids say something, right? Stay right there. When they hit, I want them to yell. I've changed it up, but now I have them yell hit. Okay, it's a timing thing, and also think about the weight room. Maybe again, I'm the only guy with this problem, but in the weight room, sometimes kids are lifting. It's like, hey, man, let that out. Let's hear you grunt a little bit. Let's hear you, get after it a little bit, because that expels energy. Well, same thing here. If I'm going to hit Eric, okay, man, I'm going to hit him, okay. And to do that, I think something's got to come out of you. So we'll say hit. So it'll look like this. All right. Now I can take my feet out of it. I want to bring my hips, right? I'll say set, go, and the defensive lineman just goes, hey! I'm going to grab cloth, right? Just like this. Now my hips are fully extended. It's like your power cleans. Okay. Then I'm going to go back down, hands on the thigh boards. We'll go again, set, go, hey! Okay. Again, I'm knocking him back. On the last one, especially until you get to about mid-season, you got to let him hold it. Because a lot of times you're going to have this, set, hip, and their hips don't come forward. And then you have to go back, you have to push them with their big asses forward. And that's okay. All right? Set, hit, hold it. Fantastic. All right? Then Eric would go, then I'll switch sides. It takes 2 minutes. All right? Do one thing, if you're an odd front, how many odd front guys do we have in here? All right. Then what I would do is our nose, I tell our nose just go head up. Right? Because frankly, he's not shaded that often. And we want to make it as lifelike as possible. We're not doing drills just to do drills. We'll progress to the rip. I'll show it to you real quick. Okay, I like this. Okay, again, I stole this from somebody. All right, so same drill. So now we'll go, set, go, hit. Now, as we do this, okay, I'm gonna take my left arm. I know you guys know how to rip, but I like it off the. Now I'm taking the legs out of it, so I'm not stepping through yet. I'm not doing anything. So if I'm ripping to my left, I'm gonna pull down with my left arm, obviously, and then I'm gonna rip through Eric, and then I'm gonna have him fall on their face, right? And here's the things I'm looking for. And again, I apologize, it's hard for some of you to see. But I'm looking for that they don't do this and chicken wing it, okay, that they come hip to hip, rub their rib, and then I get so extended that they actually fall to the ground. It's a good way, because you guys know when you teach a rip, okay, now I gotta do the foot and pull down and step through. We'll get to that. Let's do the upper body stuff first. So we'll do that on both sides. So we'll go hip drill, rip right, hip drill, rip left, or rip drill, rip left, and we'll just keep going back and forth. Okay. Stay right there. You're doing great. You okay? You're fine. You want a water? All right, you're okay. Eric, you're actually doing a great job, and I appreciate you. We'll go to the sled. I actually like the sled better. The problem with what I just showed you, and some of you are probably thinking about this, is that my whole chest is exposed, which is not how we want to play football. We would rather cover up our numbers with our thigh pads down in here. So then we'll just go off the sled, and I'll go to 6-point, toes in the ground, knees in the ground, hands in the ground. Same thing. I'll say, in this one you can go off a football, set, go, and then we push the sled. And every time we do it, it's not good enough to start. You just kind of, to hit the thing. And something I find myself saying a lot, pretend it's Friday night. Pretend it's Thursday night. How hard are you going to hit? I don't necessarily believe in making practice as hard as games. I've done that, man. I've had some good football teams that I know personally I've tired out. I've had some good football teams that I know personally I hit them too much, and we got into the second or third round of the playoffs, and they were done. But I do want them to have that attitude of, hey, we're going to be aggressive as hell, and we're going to get after it, and we're only going to do 5 reps or 4 reps, but we're going to knock that sled back. And your freshmen can do it. It's amazing what they'll do when you ask them to give a little bit more. This one I really like, this pressure drill. It's a really good way, I hate to say non-physical, non-contact way to teach pressure. A lot of times with this, you can do it any way you wanted to do it. And hey, take this drill, man. There's a lot of variations you can do of it. Make it yours. This one I like. So now, Eric, I'm going to have you do something here. I'm going to tell the offense to touch one of, if I'm the defender, hey, same thing, but now just touch one of my shoulders. Hang on. When I say go, all right? Ready? Go. All right, no. That's my fault there. That's bad coaching. Poor instruction on my part. Okay, use that hand. Go ahead, go. So I feel that pressure there. Now, I'm going to use one hand and one hip. Hit! Right? So instead of running around the block, we go through it. I know everyone in this room knows it, but boy, your kids want to go around blocks. My kids want to go around blocks. Every kid in America wants to go around blocks until you teach them to fight pressure with pressure. The other thing we tell them, I say, what do we fight pressure with? They say pressure. I say, where are your eyes? And this confuses them because they say, bottom of the number. I say, no, you're wrong. They're in your hand. Say, well, I thought you said that. I know what I said. All right? But your hands are really right here, right? Because I can feel the pressure. Again, set hit. So I'm going to drive this arm and this hip through pressure. Then we come back down, and Eric can go ahead on offense, hit any shoulder he wants. Okay, one more. Yeah, good. I'll pick that one too. Hit fast as I can. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Okay, you can go back to the thing. Thank you. I'm going to call you back up. You all right?
I'm good.
All right. Do it with your eyes closed. Have them do their eyes closed. Right? Have them trust that pressure. I think it's a good way to do it. All right, let's keep going because I don't know what time it is. It's fine. All right, take off. Get off. Again, you got to fit your get. You got to fit your get off drill, and we do these every day. Not on Friday before game day, but every day we're in the shoots. Okay. Hey, my first year after walking, we didn't have shoots. I didn't know what to do. I had an older coach, really lucky. We used a string. So maybe if you only have one set of shoots, right? And the freaking linebacker coach is always in there. And you're the defensive line coach. You can't get in there because he's the head guy. Get a string and have someone else hold it. You can use that as a shoot. So we've done that before. But here's the thing about, and you got to do this, hey, if you're an up-the-field team, change this drill, man, because this is not your drill. But the one thing that you got to be careful of, or I got to be careful of, is I want to get off the ball. but we're not an upfield team. I just said we're a squeeze, we're a spill football team, right? So then I'm going to do starts and have the kids run 5 yards up the field. And then if they do that in the game and we get power run at it and we get gashed and I yell at them, you know, and they said, yeah, coach, I got it. And then we go back to practice on Monday and we do starts, they're running 5, and I'm training them to do that. That's my fault. So there's a bunch of ways to do this, right? So I have them in the Shute here. The one thing, obviously we'll go off the ball. This is a great thing. We don't have the time. You know, I don't think anyone in this room has the time to have a drill that coaches one thing. So when we're in the Shutes, we're coaching stance, ball get up, all those different things. But I'll get down on my knee, okay, and I will hit the ground or hit the football, right? And I need all those kids that are right there and back there to yell ball. So they'll all yell ball. And if they don't do that, I'll make them do it again. Do they do it in the game? I don't know if they do it in the game. My guess is they don't. I'm trying to get them to talk. So when we say hit or punch or ball, it's getting them to be not afraid to talk. And kids are afraid to talk. I'll come back to that. Sometimes they're not afraid to talk. Sometimes we make them afraid to talk, but it's fine. All right, so we will redirect them. So now they're going to come out, you know, how we teach stance. I see a lot of different things. I'm pretty old school with it. I want to be slightly inside my shoulders. If the ball's over to my right hand is down. I try to get my butt a little above my head or flat. My offhand, man, I've seen it here. I like it right here. So when we take that little punch and I'm looking right at that number, I can, you know, I'm low and I can strike fast. I'm going to have them redirect a lot of times. So sometimes I'll tell them, get off, redirect right. So they'll come off here, and now they're buzzing their feet, right? And their hands are out, and their butt is back. They're playing football. Their numbers are covering up their thigh pads. Their hands are coming out of their mouth, up through their eyes, and they're buzzing their feet. If I tell them to rip right, no, that's right. They're going to practice their rip, so I can go ahead and practice that again, and then we're going to work for Shute drill, right? Here, so he's going to fit. He's going to fit here. He's going to fit here. He's going to fit there, right? So that's one way to finish. I think a big thing in your drills is think about the drills you do with any of your positions. How do you finish them? Every play finishes, okay? So I just don't like when our kids kind of, okay, that was a drill and walk back there. Sometimes I'll put a football here. And they got to scoop it. Sometimes we'll do a club up, like with a bag, right? So a little practice. Sometimes we'll even gator roll out of it, right? Sometimes, instead of telling them which way to go, I'll have a coach or a manager back here. They'll come across, he'll move, and they'll go that direction. We're playing a counter team, okay? Sometimes they'll step this way and come back, and they've got to stick it and then come back in the ground. What are you facing that week? But again, what are the coaching points? 2 yards up the field, then react to whatever that cue is and finish the drill. Then we'll offset, sometimes we'll put linemen in there so we can slant, do all those things. This next one here is my favorite drill, I think, okay? So you got to have a crash pad for this one. I would recommend it, okay? Those are offensive guys that stand right there. And hey, they're just standing here, okay? So when we get off the ball, and that crash pad is here, it's the same thing. On day one when we do this drill, all I'm looking for, right, from a defensive lineman coming out of the chutes, is to knock them back, and they go down to the ground, okay? They go down into the mat. I'm knocking the offensive lineman back. The one thing that's going to happen is they're going to fall with them, right? When they fall with them, that means that their feet aren't moving, they're overextended, taking these big, long strides, then you can't redirect. So when they knock that guy back in there, and you tell this guy, hey, don't be a dick, right? Maybe you don't say it that way, but let yourself get knocked back, it's fine. We usually put some extra pads back here so no one hits their head. But we should be toes and then right on the pad, get right down here, and we've knocked them back. And it's amazing how much confidence the kids grow in that ability to knock an offensive lineman back. Then don't stop there, all right? Then we'll have them do this. I'll stand here. And again, normally we're doing some sort of reaction. So I'll usually stand here or here. Not there, shit, I'm not standing there. Here, and I'll tell them, hey, you know, go on set go on the ball, whatever, go on move into the offensive line. Then we'll have these guys down low, right? So we're not an upfield team, we're a squeeze team. So I like that because now if they get up, if the D linemen get too far upfield, what happens to them? damn, and they fall right in the pad. And then that's a great teaching technique. They know, well, you just got to try, you know. So now so if he moves, right, these guys go, okay, down, down, down. Now I'm coming off out of the chute, he goes down, my hand goes to the breastplate because the number went away, my outside hand goes to the hip, I squeeze it down, and I'm looking inside, and I'm not touching the pad. If I touch the pad, I've got too far upfield, and we just got option, we just got power, we just got red, we just got trap, all the things that people are doing to us. And there's a lot of other things you can do. You got these guys pull, get in the hip pocket, right? And then eventually, don't tell them. I mean, you got to tell these guys, right? Don't tell these guys. And they get better at it. At first it looks like hell, and then it gets a little bit better, and then it actually looks like hell again, and then it gets better and better, and we can get good at this, okay? So if you have a crash pad, you got a rope, and you got 6 guys, you can do that drill. I do want to get some filming. Where's time? What time? Louis, what time?
It is.
Oh, perfect. All right. I love this drill. I know. This is a drill we probably do twice a week. Now, I told you I didn't film, but look what I did, guys. I went to the freaking internet, and I found a fence. That's good fencing. Now I'm getting fencing guys. That's a nice freaking fence like that. All right, so I don't want to, if you leave here and say, yeah, Iverson's okay, didn't have any film, you can say that. But you also better see, you should have seen that freaking fence that guy had. So, look, I don't know if you have a fence. Every place I've been, I've been lucky enough to have a fence. All right? I'll tell you how I got this drill. I know we're not here to tell stories. I know that this time goes fast. But I think you can here's a good example of taking a drill that I thought was interesting and making it mine. When I was in college, and a lot of you guys are going to know this name, a guy named Al Sagan. I don't know if any of you guys know Al. He's been a D-line coach in the state for a while. Now he's in South Dakota. He's a great D-lineman. I played with him for 1 year. And I was an offensive lineman. This was back in like 1998. Tempo wasn't a big thing, like at practice. So we did a lot of standing around. We're a zone team. We step left, we step right. But I'd look over at the D-line, and they'd be hitting this freaking fence. And I'd think to myself, that looks awful. I would not want to do that. And I knew it was awful because I lived with like 40 linemen, and they'd be pissed. Because they'd look over at us, and we're stepping right, we're stepping left. And they're down here, and they're coming off on this fence, and they're hitting it, right? And they're shuffling their feet, and they're hitting it again. And I mean, it's going on and on like this. And I guess that stuck with me. And then when I became a defensive coordinator, it's like, I didn't have a ton of drills. But I remember that fence drill. And we've incorporated it every single place, but we made it ours. So here's how we do it. And here's why we do it. So remember, it goes back to the why. If you got a drill you're doing, I'm going to say it again, that you can't say why you do it. And if it's because you saw, some goofy coach up here saying it, that's not a good enough reason. Why do you do it? It teaches pad level, right? So, as far as we got to keep our helmet beneath the pad, or helmet beneath the fence, right? Striking. So we're just going to come off, and we're going to hit the fence. And we're down, and our feet are moving, and our hands are on that fence. Okay? Sometimes the janitors get upset. It'll be okay, because you're going to dig a little bit of a trench right in front of the fence. Elbows are in, my hands are up. And I'm on the other side of the fence, and I'm giving commands. So that's how I get them off the ball. I'll move the ball. Okay? I have lines of 4 usually. Okay? And here's what and it does build some mental toughness. We don't condition anymore. I didn't think I would ever do that. I didn't think I would ever say, I don't condition. We don't condition anymore. We don't got the time. And I used to condition for toughness. Because I thought we were in good shape. We wore kids out. But there's still a time to do some of that stuff. And this builds a little toughness. So this is really good. Once they hit the fence, they're chopping their feet, and I'll give them a command. Left. Okay, now their hands come off the fence, but they've got to stay down. And you know exactly what they're going to want to do. If they start to get tired, they start to come up, they start to do this, okay? But he goes, pull your hips back, right? And they'll shuffle to the left. And then I'll say punch, and they'll say, hey! And they're still back on that fence, okay? And then we'll go to the right. We'll do the same thing. Another command I'll use is roll. We'll seat roll. I struggle with that one. Because I thought to myself, well, how many times do we seat roll in a game? Probably none. But we do go on the ground to take 2 with the D-lineman. And frankly, I'll put the film on in a little bit. We get knocked down, right? So we get up. So I'll go right, roll, they'll seat roll, they'll get up. They're maybe a little bit disoriented, and they got to hit again, okay? My favorite one is the rip. And you guys know why, okay? Because if this is the fence, and I'm here, I go right, okay? And if I say rip, they've got to take that right arm and throw it open, have their left leg and left arm by a string, and they've got to rip to the sky. We're talking about finishing. They've got to finish through that next post link, okay? If they don't get their body flat, they get a big cut on their hand. They're not going to die, right? They have their tetanus shot. Okay, if you got any of these non-vaccinated people in here, I'm sorry. All right, vaccinate your kids. But it takes them about one time to cut up their hand, and you get guys that'll rip down the line and they'll run through here and they'll finish. All right, and if you can do that, that's good. So it's great. So hey, we're gonna go punch drill. We're gonna go to the chutes, and then we don't do this every day, twice a week. Go to the fence. And the kids sprint to the fence. Fine. It's a tough drill. I'm tired of just demonstrating two things here. So again, you do how you. If you like that drill, make it yours. Because we thought about it. We made it ours.
Hey, Coach, do
Yeah.
you do that for a time frame? Or?
Yeah, great question. I always started about, what do they say, the average play about 6 seconds?
Yeah.
So I try to do that. But, and this is, honestly, and I've come around on this, if I get a group in that's not working very hard, instead of freaking out, which I did for a lot of my career, out, in. And if a team, if a group is doing really good and I can feel their energy, I'm gonna let them go. Go 8 seconds, go 9 seconds. And the theory behind that, and I appreciate the question, is that your reward for good work is you get to keep going. That's another reason why I don't condition that much. The only time I really condition is if we have a great practice, right? Because I think sometimes we tell our kids, hey, you better work hard, and then they screw up and then they come over, here's a punishment, I'm gonna make you work hard. There's a disconnect there. So to answer your question, about 6 seconds, but man, I got a group that's getting after and the kids are cheering, let's go, you know? Then about 9 seconds. After that, it gets a little bit redundant. Longer answer than you wanted.
No, that's
All right, now again, we're a RIP team. Okay, so again, we will do some version of this drill every week. Okay, and then I'll get some film here after this drill. Okay. So this is good because I don't have time. Maybe you guys do. I used to coach in a 2-platoon system. We had more time. I got about 15 minutes a day with those kids. Sometimes during a special team, I'll pull them, right? So we're gonna shuffle over bags in a chute. We'll get a string. Again, you shuffle over bags, that's great. I'm just trying to get them to get their feet quick. What would be better, frankly, would be those little hurdles, because I don't want them to take these big little steps. All right, but once they shuffle through, here's a little fun. You can find out who can play. I'm standing here with a shield, right? I'm standing here with a shield. Eric, come over here, buddy. Don't roll your eyes, Eric. Get over here.
Let's go right here.
You're not in first hour math class. It's okay. Come on, it's fun. All right. So here, Eric's me. Okay. So I don't mean to insult you like that. All right. But here's what happens. Eric, in fact, stand there. If we're out of the camera, it's okay. I'll apologize to Tom later. All right. So I'm gonna start standing right there. I'm gonna shuffle over these bags with my eyes inside. Okay. When I get to the end bag, I'm gonna stick my outside foot in the ground. My upper body is in control, and I'm gonna rip open. All right, Eric. Don't run at me. You're a big, strong kid. Walk this way. I'm running with a bag. And they've got to come right down the line, and he's going to take this bag. And I'm trying to knock them down, okay? And they've got to rip under it, pop their hip, use their elbow, and climb back vertical, okay? And we can get a lot of kids through that drill. And then we'll go to the other side and do it, okay? So, hang on, Eric. Not done with you. Coach attack line of scrimmage. Hey, you must get under. You gotta make sure they get under you with that upfield arm and rip, and then we gotta finish vertical. I made that mistake of not coaching that well enough. Because once Eric comes to kick me out, okay, I can come under, but if he's good, what's he gonna do? He's gonna log me. Yeah, come on, Eric, log me. There, you're a center, it's okay. All right, and then, okay, our fits, I don't say our fits get screwed up, it's still okay. If I can stick my foot in the ground and climb vertical, now I can make that back, or whoever it is run the hump, and we can rally to him. Okay. The only other thing with this drill, if this is who you are, now stand there. Okay. We're going to shuffle through. Hey, how much stuff can I coach in one drill? I'm gonna shuffle through. Just gonna go like this, Eric. Stick my foot. I'm gonna put a player here, and as soon as I put my foot in the ground, he's gonna gap block or down block. Go ahead, just take one step like that. I'm gonna put my hand to the shoulder, to the hip. I don't care how straight. Eric's a strong dude, okay? But there's no muscle there. So I can get him. Now, we don't always hit that perfectly. But now I'm gonna squeeze it. The analogy we use is, hey, look around the corner, right? I'm gonna look around the corner, because here I come with the bag. So I'm gonna squeeze him down, I'm gonna rip, and I'm gonna pop vertical. All right, now think about all the things thanks, Eric, I appreciate it. Okay, we worked on pad level, a little bit of footwork, 'cause I'm not gonna do a ton of footwork drills that don't incorporate football type of things. I've worked on maybe a little bit of squeeze and the rip, okay? If you have a lot of time, use 2 or 3 bags. That's what we wanna do, okay? And hey, I will be honest, sometimes we don't even use the shoots on this one, right? But shuffle rip, okay? And there's a lot of other stuff. You can finish here. And again, I'm just giving you some ideas. We finish with a tackle, okay? Sometimes finish with the ball. But how do you finish the drill? Every play finishes with a tackle, maybe with a fumble recovery. We'd rather not finish with the official going like this. But every play is gonna finish. So we wanna practice the finish. Some sled stuff here, but let's get to some of this film and then we'll kind of get into the next session. All right? Now, some of this you're gonna say, boy, that's not very good. All right, well, don't be a dick, all right? I'm doing the best I can. But I also say to myself, yeah, what if we didn't do any of this? So I'm gonna show you the good and the bad, all right? Hold on, no, this is the most thing I'm most nervous about with this technology. Look at that. All right, this is like our second game. We played at this really interesting soccer stadium. We had a dance club in the back. It was all right. So interesting where football will take it. Hang on, let me get this full screen. No. Yeah, you're right. All right, so a little bit hard to see here. Hey, for some reason, we're gonna do some chalk. If you guys aren't sick of me after this, we're gonna do a little chalk. We can do coverage stuff, but I really wanted to focus on this. So hopefully you're gonna see some of the stuff that we talked about. The one thing I didn't get into, just because I do want to get to the film, is I do have our block destruction, which we can start the next session with. And then because the auto check stuff, frankly, I think a lot of you are doing it. I'll just show you how we do it. All right, here we go. And plus we can teach off the tape, which is better teaching anyway. All right, so this is just, we're in our stack defense. And really, let me just play this. I made a couple of notes. Here. All right, so right here, our left end, and this is our second game. I hope that as we go through, you'll see us become more aggressive. We were a little bit soft to start the year. I can understand that. I guess, you know, we got better as the year went on. And sometimes we didn't. I won't apologize for that either. All right, but here, if you watch our left end, he gets that down block. That's not terrible. Okay? So this cat right here, right? His hands are on. You know where this big old lineman is going to our Mike back. All right? I would like to see his left shoulder turned more, right? He's kind of like this. Okay, my fear now is that if someone's coming to kick him out, it's here. I want him looking around the post, right? Looking around the corner. The run fit stuff, which we didn't talk about, and we'll talk about a little bit later, is, and I won't get into it this second, we're a tackle read team first. And I heard a guy tell us that. I said, that's ridiculous. You only read guards. The first read we make in the stack, and because I don't want to teach him 2 reads, we're a gap exchange team. He was a C gap player, he's a B gap player. But when the tackle down blocks, our end automatically becomes a B gap player right now, and our stack backer becomes a C gap player right now. So they actually aren't doing a terrible job here, right? Later in the year, frankly, we probably would have auto checked and covered up that tight end right there who's coming down on our.
So, Coach,
yeah.
when you tell him to turn his left, he's getting skinny. Does he slow
Yeah.
that guy down enough?
Yeah, like
You tell him to stay square and fight pressure and squeeze it down.
Yeah, so like right here, like when he blocks down,
Yeah.
my hands are firing. I want to see his left hand. So if I'm on the left side of our defense, I want to see his left hand to the hip, his right hand as close to the chest as we can get, and we are facing the sideline.
Okay.
You know, if you look back at those drills, that's what we're trying to do every time we. Because right now he's still too vertical. Now maybe later in this clip he turns his shoulders, but I'm not going to bet the house on it. All right, so Here's a really good job by our nose. Our nose guard, again, hey, stack defense, what do you want as a nose? Well, I want a 250-pound kid who benches 315 and squats 500 pounds. I agree. That's awesome. But if we're just picking kids, and I'll take a linebacker that's 220 and runs a 4.6, right? So, I mean, sometimes that kid there, our nose guard, he's wrestling, you can tell, I'm not a wrestling guy, no offense. But I don't know, he wrestles like in the 180s or 170s. I don't know what weight that is. But he ain't a big cat, is my point. All right? And these guys here are somewhat big. It's hard to see. But look, there, look at 64. His eyes should be up. But his pad level's good. His pad level's good. He's getting underneath and he's getting his double T. Okay? We're getting a squeeze here. We want to take two. But if we can sit into it, right? If we can get that nose to sit into that guard, he can pop through. And in fact, in this case, I wish I could say he always pops through, but here he does, he makes the play.
10 minutes, coach, will take 5, and you'll start your second session.
All right, thank you. So we get a deep, it's not too bad. Here, we do the same drill with our linebackers, and our kid, that 44 is a pretty nice football player. He had that long hair, he's kind of a tough dude, but it took him a while to figure it out. If he would just rip on that pressure, see that tight end coming down on him? He's getting caved a little bit inside, right? But we're okay, we're not great. He's wrong. He should be over the top. Okay, our nose does a good job making the play. Our right end standing up way too tall, his arms aren't extended. But our nose guard is able to split that double team just by sitting into it. Now, the one thing we tell them is this: if you sit, right, with that double team coming down and you start to lose a little bit of ground, you're down right away. Okay? You've got to take two because our D-line, frankly, I don't know if I tell them this, but they're freeing up linebackers, right? If our D linemen are making the most tackles on our team, we're in trouble. It should be the Mike, number 8, who makes the most tackles. So again, just stuff that we work on every day shows up in the drill. Next one here. Okay, we're still in our stack. Now here we're slanting, all right? Now our right hand, God bless him, Kenny's a good dude. He didn't play football. He played football his freshman year. He came back to play this year. Our numbers, his left hand should be down. Okay, he's going to slant. Now here's how we slant. Okay, nothing changes. All right, nothing changes. So I'm just going to narrow my feet a little bit. Okay, and if I'm slanting to coach, okay, now my foot's got to get in the ground before my hands, and we're not an upfield slant team. Once in a while we'll call jet, let them go. All right. Now my eyes are in the inside number, bottom of the inside number towards me, and my first step is almost flat, but it's a long step. My second step now is just like I'm playing my stuff technique, right here. Kenny does an okay job over here on the slant. Our nose, at times, his legs are a little stubby, I'm making excuses for him. He had a hard time getting to that next lineman over. So sometimes we did just say, hey, play through his, yeah, actually that's pretty good right there. Pad level's not too bad. He's got good pad level. Kenny's better here. And we're even slanting to this tight end, and we get a piece of him, which helps, right? We have a rule when we slant. Never slant to space, right? So if we're slanting left, and I line up as an end, and all there is detached guys over here, I'm never going to slant to nothing. In fact, we don't even slant to a wing or an H-back. It's got to be an on-the-line player. Outside linebackers, we call them dogs. You can see here, this is good. Now our nose starts to stand up, but this is what I mean. Like hey, look at the nose here. We talk about, right? Like hitting the sled and punch. I mean, he knocks him back. He knocks him back. I really like the way the left end is attempting to get a piece of the guy he's slanting to. The rule we have on the D line is this: if you execute your job and you don't hit somebody on the second step, you're probably wrong, or you better make the tackle in the backfield. I don't know what our buck linebacker number 59 is doing, but he seems to be enjoying himself. It's all right, have a good time, kid. You're doing fine. I guess he gets under it okay. All right, but our D line, hey, we don't spend a lot of time on pass rush. We just don't. I got 2 drills that we do, all right? And then we do a screen drill, whatever. But frankly, I think a lot of pass rush, if we can clear the hips, and I got some film on that, a lot of pass rush, and you guys we can debate it. I think if you can get one, it's effort. Most of the times when I see sacks occur, unless we beat them clean, man, we're fighting like crazy, taking half the man, trying to flip our hips. That's what we tell them. Get a kid like Marcus, our wrestler, okay, we do a little bull rush and knock him back. But again, we can't be great at everything. Like this, let's see here. Again, just pad level here. Again, now we're a little bit different front, but still, we want to be thick, right? We don't want to be wide ends. All right, so really our alignment, getting back to our alignments, if I'm lined up on coach here, a 5 technique, we kind of tell them, hey, the better you are, the closer you get, which is a good coaching point because they want to be good, so they want to get close. Because a lot of times when they start, they want to get away from the offensive lineman. My nose should be on his outside eye, okay? If I tell him to move out, all right, maybe your outside eye. But if we get out here, boys, it's hard for us to squeeze and get our hands on those offensive linemen. So again, talking about alignment, he's lined up pretty well. Got his wrong hand down though. All right, so here's not a bad job. You can see you can see where the gaps are, right? Like with this inside zone deal here. But, boy, we are really standing up high here. But I'll say this: we're taking 2 the best we can, and our mic should be able to fill this. It looks like I don't know if he's reading it or not, but it doesn't matter. It comes out kind of a median RPO type of deal. Okay, the thing that I think helps us here is our pad level and our get off, and because we're not trying to run around people by our right end. So here's our man Kenny. He knocks him back pretty good. That ball comes out. Okay, we're man coverage, we don't get tackled.
Coach, were you slanting there?
Yeah. Damn it. Maybe. Let's take a look. What the hell? Oh, hang on. I'll get to it. This one here. No. Does it look like we are? Now, yeah. No, we're not. I mean, I think Kenny's coming in a little bit too much, our end. You know what I'm saying? Now, he's slanting. So I would say, hey, good get off. Good job knocking him back. I would like to see, I know what you're saying. I would actually like to see probably his face mask here because he's not getting a down block. Right? You got the overhang here. So no, we're not slanting here. It's just kind of a cruddy. It's just kind of a cruddy technique by him. Although, hey, what do I got to trust? Well, I got to trust him to do a lot, but the fact that he's given effort does make up for a little bit of his. I don't think he was. It's a good point of how he was aligned well before the snap, and when the snap happened, he got himself misaligned. We do have the overhang over there, but Kenny doesn't know that. I'd like to tell you he has no clue that guy's there. All right, I'll go back to that last one. So this, we do let our kids actually get off the ball once in a while. Let's go back to this last clip here with that jet example. Yeah, so here we will, now when we go jet, usually when we go jet, it is, we are playing 0 coverage, we're bringing probably 6, 3 D linemen, and probably 3 linebackers, right, and we're kind of letting it go. And if we get slammed, if we get trapped, if something happens, okay, that's on me. Which is going to fit into our next session, which I know we got to give you guys a break and all that, but that kind of fits into trying to stay out of those situations. But here's where we kind of get off the ball and just, hey, if we're slanting, get upfield. And it's a nice, actually, it's a nice little change up when we play option teams too, because teams just don't expect us to do it. So once in a while, even in non-passing situations, we'll let them go do it. And against zone teams, right? Once in a while, give them a jet call. So here you can see, I don't mind this. Kenny, here's our right end here. Okay, so our outside linebacker's coming around. He doesn't have to get to the hit because he's on a jet call. You can see we're in man. There's nobody in the middle of the field. And yeah, are we telling them we're in man? Yeah. But you know what? I'd rather tell them and make them know it than try to disguise a bunch of stuff and get ourselves out of position. At least these guys here. His arm's wrong, right? See where his arm is? Damn it. His arm should be down. okay? It just takes too long, it doesn't time up right. It's a good job here with a nice flat rip, a nice slant. Now he can press vertical. He's knocked off pretty good. He's a big kid. All right. But hey, this is good. Hey, this is good fight. Good fight here by him. And then we are bringing it back or clean. I think I'm done. It sounds like someone did a good job over there. But that's okay. That's the last clip on here. Here's what